Alright, welcome to Real Politik, 27th of October 2024, October the 27th, an important day in history, of course, the birthday of both Vladimir Putin and A-Up Lovely. No, wait, hang on, that was 20 days ago. I think that's the only significant thing about that day. Alright, first off, first things first, fuck Keir Starmer.
Starmer out.
Yeah.
Starmer out. Fuck that cunt. You know, I feel like when Geraint is on the show, you know, there's just no one there to stick up for the Welsh against all the unnamed individuals making disparaging remarks and jokes and very serious and heartfelt negative comments about the Welsh. And of course, he's off doing his wrestling stream now with Farage's fucked face and marked as red. Tune in on Sundays to Top Rope Deep Dive. Oh no, I broke kayfabe there. Geraint would hate that. And promoted his project. He wouldn't hate the promotion, just the kayfabe breaking.
You should have done it like a wrestling promo. You should have been like, you know.
Yeah, sorry. My fuck that cunt. That's what I meant to say. Who you'll be hearing on our next episode. Tune into that one as well. So yeah, I wanted to get a third mic on along with me and Yair. So we have got. Kazakh journalist Borat Sadyerev. Mr. Borat, how are you? Oh, my wife, oh, mamma mia, oh, wawa, oh, pizza, Italia. Hi, Mr. Borat, you've come all the way from Kazakhstan to promote your new, I don't know what you're promoting or why you're doing the rounds, to stand up to left-wing anti-Semitism. What? We hate Jew in Kazakhstan. They have horn. Yeah, thank you, Borat.
Insightful.
Yeah. Now, yo, I'm Ali G. Bruv, what it is. Yo, I'm Ali G and I'm from the hood. I'm getting that Punani, and I think that Jeremy Corbyn is a dangerous man, bruv. Alright, that's run its course. Our guest is actually Steffan from Wales, Shrieking Tin Man, Phased Bemused, regular guest on the show. Good to have you, man.
Alright, man, how you doing? I think I gave like a slightly less Welsh intro than I normally do. I could just do the rest of the podcast in Welsh.
And I mean, actually, since I did the shitty Borat fucking Ali G bit, when I did the little video of it that I posted like on all social media channels, it was just shit.
Oh, hi, my name is Borat. I am journalist from Kazakhstan. Aren't Jew crazy? In Kazakhstan, we all support Donald Trump because he hates Jew. Some bullshit like that. This was written by Lee Kern.
I almost saved it with Lee Kern wrote this punchline, but until then it was just dying on its arse. But I'm sure I forgot a key component of it both times that I've done it, so I'll probably retire the Borat impression after this. But yeah, did you guys see that? The little clip of Sacha Baron Cohen on Jimmy on Tonight with Jimmy?
I only know what you told me about it.
Yeah, man. I saw like a transcript of it and I couldn't really fucking stand to watch it. So I was just like read it in the original.
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to be honest, actually, I didn't watch it either. I don't think any of us have actually watched this.
But it's just like, it's humiliating, but basically what happens is that, particularly since Trump and like in the UK, you know, since Brexit, that like comedians have felt like this overwhelming imperative to like put the thumb on the scale, or like celebrities in general, you know, put the thumb on the scale, like make sure they're understood as being against Trump or Brexit. So it's just like absolutely, like completely defined him as a comedian. They're like the fucking second Borat film was just like the worst shit I've ever seen in my life. It's so fucking bad, and you just like so like absolutely rote like you know like liberal platitudes and shit. The series did in America was actually quite good.
Yeah, that was
like,
alright.
Yeah, it was alright.
Yeah,
but like it was just
fucking Nick Mullen writing for him rather than just Lee Kern. Just kidding, it's never just Lee Kern, it's him and like 29 other guys.
But like with that particular thing, he was like, he was addressing Kamala Harris and Donald Trump in order, and it's like the Harris bit is like, oh, I'm not going to do the accent because basically it takes it out to me do my own fucking accent, let alone trying to put on like a fake Kazakh accent. I'm not going to do that. But basically, he was like, oh, the thing is, see, in Kazakhstan we wouldn't allow such a brilliant, incredible woman to reach the heights of state power, and then it's like Donald Trump is like, oh, you've got small hands. That's actually a bit too sophisticated. But it's like, oh, we love criminals, we love rapists, it's fucking like absolute just fucking like lowest common denominator liberal shit. And that's exactly what like the second Borat film was like. And also he did like a series during COVID where he like holed up with two conspiracy theorists in like a cabin.
Well, I think
was, like,
that was just shit
terrible.
that they filmed for the second Borat film that then they expanded into additional content in the COVID era, which like, I would never repackage previously released material as new content. I think that's outrageous.
Well, like, I find it like it is, we were talking about it like off mic, but basically at this point, even though people would look at me and sort of see a fairly tedious and doctrinaire Marxist, at this point I've got like a stronger commitment to like the artistic value of a work outside of its political work value than like almost every fucking like famous celebrity. They all think that they're like intervening on the side of democracy and truth and freedom with every fucking joke they make, and it's basically it's made like mainstream comedy over the last decade almost completely fucking useless. Just like they're just completely fails to fulfill its function as comedy. It's a fucking awful state of affairs, man. Like, you can laugh with him in particular because it's just so obscene that he like sort of takes these moral stands and stuff. And it's like literally the great joy of Sacha Baron Cohen's work when he was at the peak of his powers was that his stuff was remarkably stupid and offensive.
It's like I was watching more fucking racist bullshit. Like I was watching some Opie and Anthony, and they had some vintage Opie and Anthony, and they had Sacha Baron Cohen on the show in character, and they were talking about Borat afterwards, the film, and they were like basically saying like, is it PC? Hell no. Oh man, it's the least PC film you'll ever fucking see. And they were all like, oh, I gotta go see it then. And yeah, it's like, where is the kind of shrill moralizing in the 2006 Borat, in the Ali G show or whatever? The Ali G film is a pretty bad stoner comedy, so that's not really busting the taboos. I told you, I think, Steffan, my amateur armchair psychologist fucking interpret my read of Sacha Baron Cohen on this, which is that he knows that a lot of the people laughing at the anti-Semitic jokes in Borat were not laughing ironically. They were not laughing at anti-Semitism, and he knows that he is really, really good at anti-Semitic humour. He has a special talent for it, and I think he feels an overwhelming sense of guilt about this, and all the teenage boys who have laughed their heads off for
throw
running,
the Jew down the well,
throw the Jew down the well, the running of the Jew. No idea who these teenage boys are.
Not me. No,
I was reading. Yeah, they grow up to be horrible anti-Semites like Yair, or that is his legacy. That is the world that Sacha Baron Cohen created. But yeah, I feel like he just feels incredibly bad about this, and that has made him double down on doing speeches about like the dangers of left-wing anti-Semitism at the ADL conference.
It's just fucking like it is pathetic. I think it like comes to a lot of people, and it's like it is the great tragedy of being like a fucking clown, or being the term I used to use for this was goon, but goon has taken on a new meaning.
Yeah, exactly. Because of Mike Gates' international fame, people associate it with the paramilitary organisation, the Gape Goons, who are not affiliated to the criminal gang, the GG gang.
But like with these people, you know, like in particular, I think about like Jim Carrey and Mike Myers and stuff. And like in the 90s, they made tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars just doing the stupidest shit in the world. And it's like, it was, you know, they brought joy to millions. And then like they reached middle age. And like Jim Carrey had some fucking idiotic thing where he was like, oh, you know, reality isn't real. What if we're in a simulation? All that stuff. And Mike Myers fell under the thrall of the guru Deepak Chopra, who's mentioned
exclusively from a Kanye West lyric.
Exactly.
The song "I'm in It."
It's such a fucking good song.
Yeah,
But
one of the most like evil songs he ever made.
Yeah, I think it's like that one of the highest callings of humanity is to be like the daftest bastard alive. I think it's like it's a really important, you know. See, even now, like you can't talk about it without accidentally sanctifying it and making it sound more important than it is. But it is just incredibly important to be just thick as fuck and funny. And then like basically people get to middle age and they're like, I've wasted my life. And it's like, you haven't wasted your life. You've made like, you know, the Ali G movie, the Mrs. Brown's Boys, the Ali G in the House movie. You made that. You know, you've done these things. Like, just be fucking happy with that. Like, you don't have to be like a fucking like a celebrity ambassador for that.
I don't know, man. The Ali G movie makes some hard satirical points. Like, if you got all the world leaders high at the G8 conference, it would solve world peace. It would bring about world peace. It would end world peace. There'd be nuclear war because of weed. It's an evil drug and must be banned.
It's like, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like. But
yeah, well, that's just some Welsh bullshit. Forget. No one listened to that. You don't need to. You don't want no part in that shit.
But no, it is grim, but you know, I find it like fucking ridiculous, and obviously like with like facing down another US election where it could be the case that Donald Trump becomes president again.
Yeah,
I don't have to
trying to manifest it. I'm trying to will it into existence.
I don't have to like live with like another decade of just this absolute fucking limp, fucking piss weak pretend comedy about how it's really important to vote and stuff.
Yeah, that is probably the worst thing about Donald Trump.
Pretty bad. Yeah, no, I like that is
content will be back, boys.
Punk rock will be back once this time.
I love that. Like, we like the thing of being like, oh, he was like people used to say about Thatcher, and he was like, oh, it was an amazingly generative time for pop music. You know, it's like, no, it wasn't. It was good shit. It's like, you know, like synth pop was good, but like, you know, that's apart from, you know, a couple of exceptions, not particularly political form of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fucking dog shit for the culture when he was president. It was just having people fucking thinking about him constantly. Just like broke so many funny people's brains forever.
Yeah.
That just fucking heartbreaking to think about, really. And he's obviously one of the worst offenders. Like, I'm trying to think about other people who've completely fucking lost it, but it's basically everyone, so.
Yes, too many to mention, man. It is absolutely endemic. Have you seen Iannucci's got a new show out about superhero movies? I haven't seen it, but there was a Guardian review, and it was just like, yeah, there's not really any laughs in the first episode. And I'm like, that seems like a problem. So, like, for me, there's quite a few laughs in, like, episode 1 of the thick of it. It's they're quite tightly packed in there.
Oh, yeah.
How satirical of the superhero film industrial complex can it be to justify not really having a single laugh in a whole episode? Like, wow. That must be biting.
I think we've
satire.
Reached a critical mass where we don't need any more superhero satires either. Like,
yeah. You fucking nailed it. Yeah, it might be a wry comment on the thing, but it's still the thing.
Yeah,
like, that was an issue for me with the latest season of The Boys. I didn't care for it whatsoever.
Same here. I mean, The Boys was always a bit like this, but I feel like the very current dayness of it is just been reaching new heights with every season.
Yeah, except I almost found the latest season, some of their satire of like Trumpism and stuff was like 2016 Trumpism, not the contemporary stuff. Whatever. To be honest, I watched like 4 episodes of the season, then bailed on it. There's other things I would like to watch, like old Opie and Anthony clips. Basically, like I just thought so much of it was just like, I mean, one of the things that pissed me off was that like the fascist far right woman kept talking about Zionists as if Zionism is a bad thing. I was like, just not kept abreast of the overriding sentiments on that kind of politics, have you? I know that, like,
to be fair, I mean, there are Nazis who still think it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
It's like
but they're like proper
complexity out
Nazis rather than Trump people generally, aren't they? Like the
I
actual,
think you're right there. Yeah.
the kind of
I
like
mean,
the people, because I mean, I thought she was a very direct Trump kind of figure, and they all seem to fucking love Israel, like the Ben Shapiro's and stuff.
It's amazing. Like
they're all very confused.
I was talking about it with someone the other day. I was just saying, like, it's amazing with Israel-Palestine that basically you can get, there's like two different kinds of people whose racism, like, they're genuinely bone deep racism leads them to support both Israel and either Israel or Palestine, depending on which way the wind's blowing at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, obviously the equivalent in the UK to like a Trump figure would be like Tommy Robinson's lot.
Be Jeremy Corbyn.
Rather than like Nick Griffin or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and obviously like Tommy Robinson's like 100% behind Israel, and the same goes for like people like respectable nutcases and like the DUP and stuff. You know what I mean? That's like their sort of fucking number one cause is voting Israel. Whereas there are still like a tiny fringe of racists who are so racist against Jews that they're prepared to support Palestinian Muslims against it. They're just like that racist. Inspiring to see, really.
Yesterday, I went on an Irish politics podcast called Celtic Ligers, and I was telling their host how, well, recently my parents went to a wedding. I didn't go in Northern Ireland, where like my dad's family are from. And it was in a super Protestant DUP-ish part of Northern Ireland. And basically there were shitloads of Israel flags everywhere. It was also an Oasis-themed wedding. I think that may have softened the blow somewhat. But yeah, Israel flags galore in that kind of heavily unionist area.
It's mental,
awesome.
Isn't it? But it's like a proxy, you know, because what's obscene about Israel-Palestine?
What's obscene about Israel? Let's not get into that, though.
Yeah, exactly.
We're here all day.
But like, the particular thing is that people use it as like a proxy to prove their devotion to the West. And that's what it is. It's just like you're proving your devotion to the Western, American hegemony, basically, by being like loudly in favour of Israel. So that's why fucking Gustavo talks about it like a woman. That's why you get fucking DUP putting flags
Beautiful
up.
Israel. Sexy
obscene,
Israel.
Beautiful, sexy Israel. But like, it's
the Israel
terrible.
with big tits that had huge tits. I think that's the name of their fucking foreign secretary. That's Israel Katz. Sorry. Have I mentioned my intrusive thoughts about the name Israel Katz? Like, you guys have known me long enough to know, like, my mental illness where I get a particular phrase lodged in my head over it. I just can't stop thinking it and putting it in new different contexts. It will pop up in my head when I'm, doing all sorts of things. I'm like, I don't want to
jerking it.
Yeah, no, like, literally, unless I put some music on that can block it out. But no, currently it's Israel Katz. It's the name Israel Katz. Israel Katz is walking in the footsteps of the entire Mike Gapes Milk speech, of the Taliban, of the phrase "smoking gun." Israel Katz is treading that hallowed path right now as we speak. I'm just putting his name into all these little contexts. I tweeted the other day, me and Israel Katz down by the schoolyard. That was
I saw that. And
you don't want that guy going near a schoolyard. He will. Not saying he's a paedophile, but he'd blow it up. He'd kill all the children. He's a mass murderer.
Yeah, I saw that, me and Israel Katz down by the schoolyard, and I was like looking at it. I was like, is it in the... I was like trying to make it work as a joke.
You can't remotely. Me and Hugh are down by the schoolyard, he's cramming all the syllables into as much space as there is for them. There's not... No, you can't make it work. You'd have to change the time signature or something. But artistically, I would justify it. I'm beyond time and meter. Anyway, how do we get onto Israel cats? I was just saying, fuck Israel. Israel sucks or something. Wasn't some bullshit about how I hate Israel. Same stuff as always.
What's that like? It's great. Like, was it? I'm trying to fucking remember. I was about to say something about loads of people being called Israel, but it is quite funny.
It is. Like, there's
no way to deny that. I made a great
joke on Twitter. I said it would be like if you were called Wales.
Well, like there's like a fucking hell, this is some deep Welsh bullshit, so I'm gonna try and get through it as quickly as I can, right? But basically, one of like the sort of founding myths of Wales is that
I'm already loving it.
Yeah, so one of the founding sort of myths of Wales is that there's I can't even remember the bastard's name in what it actually was, but there's a particular Roman emperor called Marcus. Not Marcus Aurelius or something, but
Marcus
some
Garvey.
Called Marcus.
Marcus
Garvey.
Yeah.
No, it's very similar to this, right? So I'll explain it. So basically, like in Welsh mythology, he married a Welsh woman, and he's known in Welsh as Maxen Wledig, so country like Marcus, basically is how we translate. But yeah, you get people like because with like older Welsh people, it's like a woman's name. Gladys, the name. Gladys,
yes.
Have you heard of that? Yeah. So basically,
an
you get
old person name. Is there anyone born after like 1942 called Gladys?
But like you get even older people, and they call Gladys with a W in there, Gladys, and that's like they're like country like woman. So it's like literally. That's where it comes from. She's insane. But it's just like, when I realised that, I was like, fucking hell, what the hell have we got going on here? Like,
country like woman with big tits who had huge tits.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we promised. That's the Welsh promise.
When we sailed to Patagonia in search of the mythic woman with big tits who had huge tits.
Oh Christ, man! I was listening to
Kinks.
not the Kinks. No, I very rarely do that, to be honest with you. Aside like the first two singles.
I love the Kinks.
I like the racist one they did. I like the racist song they did, Black Messiah. I like that.
I think they've got a few, haven't they? They've got Ape Man.
Really racist,
pretty,
Ape Man's spectacular, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to die in a nuclear war.
Fucking hell. I was listening to... I've forgotten his fucking name now. Rene Griffiths is the name, and he's like a Patagonian Welsh folk singer. And I was listening to him when I was driving back from my gig last night. And he's fucking great because like out there they speak Welsh, but with like a really like heavy rural Latin American accent, and it's the fucking best thing, man. So yeah, I'll have to send that to you after this.
That's fucking awesome, man.
That's good.
That's very fucking cool. Current affairs. First off, fuck Keir Starmer. Well, actually, somewhat related, because let's talk a little bit about Mike Amesbury, the MP for somewhere or other, who's been suspended now from the Labour Party for beating the shit out of somebody on camera. There's CCTV footage of him punching this guy who is on the floor 5 times in a row. Just boom, boom.
One I have seen, he's got a good punch behind him, I gotta say.
It's dirty fighting. This is not sportsman-like behaviour. I mean, there was the clip that came out first, which is him like, you won't fucking threaten the local MP again, will you? You won't fucking threaten the local MP. And there's these women like holding this guy on the floor, like, leave him alone, leave him alone. Stop it. And yeah, he keeps like lunging towards the guy, and these women are like, no. And he's obviously pissed out of his mind. Who knows what the guy said to threaten him? Was it just like, excuse me, sir, how did you vote on ceasefire last year? The most threatening thing you can say to a Labour Party MP.
Okay. You won't ever threaten me again, will you? The MP you won't ever threaten me again, will you? Leave it.
The MP at Runcorn fucking smacking someone on the floor.
Leave it.
The MP at Runcorn smacking someone on the floor.
Get over that film.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And you won't threaten the MP ever again, will you?
Oh, is it Mike?
Yes.
He's the local MP, Jono.
Aye.
Get him on
Never
camera.
threaten me. You'll
Get him
never
on
threaten
camera,
me.
Jono. He's the
Ever
local
again.
MP.
The MP at Runcorn.
That's what you should be doing round here,
The
isn't
MP
it?
at
The local
Runcorn
MP.
smacks someone.
He's the local MP,
Don't
Jono.
threaten the MP. You'll never do it again, will
Mate,
you?
you'll never
The
be
MP at
again.
Gobshite.
Oh, mate.
You'll
The
never
MP
threaten the
at
MP again, will you?
Yeah, but the
You're
MP
so
at
fucking lad.
He's the
the
local
MP is a
MP of
Gobshite.
You just
The
lost
MP
his
at
mate.
Gobshite.
Well, like it's class because he tried to do the whole "I'm being harassed, I'm under attack" thing, which is like the favourite thing that for MPs to do whatsoever.
Our values are under attack, and,
Yeah.
and our very personal safety too.
So he was saying all that before we had the footage of the bit leading up to the bloke being on the floor.
Yeah.
And then it came out, and it's like it's so obvious just from like the positioning of the people there that he's not being threatened. So he's like not being physically threatened at all by the bloke he's hitting. He may be like he's like within like a punching distance of him, obviously. But like fucking hell, man, it's so mental. But it's like part is I was never like I'm like an extremely amiable drunk, so I've never really been in like a fist fight, and I'm not trying to come across like an hard lad here. But it is genuinely impressive that we live in a country where like MPs are doing this on the weekend. It's not just like random louts or whatever. It's like the fucking elected representative of like 100,000 people or whatever is just going out getting fucking tanked up at like 3 a.m. just twatting people in the middle of the street. Fucking unreal, man. But like, I was trying to read up on him because I was thinking, like, is he going to redound, does it like reflect badly on the left? But he's not like a left winger, really, some sort of fucking third sector bastard.
Not remotely. No, he is a member of Labour Friends of Israel. So I have to say that I hope as a result of his controversy, he. I do though.
Fair.
Speaking of, I saw someone mention that he was anti-Semitic, and I was like, oh, for real? Maybe he's one of the real ones. No, I saw someone mention it, and I searched Mike Amesbury anti-Semitism. Now here is an article from Daniel Sugarman. I first heard of Daniel Sugarman when he wrote an article about how Labour under Corbyn had abandoned young voters like him. This was 2017 or 18, in which he said, "Yeah, I didn't vote for Labour in any of the last 3 general elections." Just like repeatedly voted for David Cameron. But the left behind by Jeremy Corbyn. Anyway, Daniel Sugarman, at least in 2019, was writing for the Jewish Chronicle. And here is this article. Labour Shadow Minister Mike Amesbury apologises for sharing anti-Semitic caricature, in quotes, after denying he had. The MP for Weaver Vale originally tweeted, "I did not send this vile nonsense and never would," but deleted it when it was pointed out he in fact had. So, the classic defence, just double down, never happened. You've got evidence of it. Don't believe your lying eyes.
It's amazing, man. We were talking about CeeLo Green, and CeeLo Green was accused of committing date rape offences, and then he sent out a tweet, and he was like, "It's ridiculous. How can it be rape if the person's not awake to consent to it?" Just like the worst possible thing. And then deleted the tweet, and he was like, I apologise for what I just said. It's untrue and it's not what I believe. And it's like, yeah, it is what you believe.
Yeah,
you fucking posted it, you fucking wolf.
It doesn't reflect my views or whatever. Yeah, so this is not who I am.
It literally is. Fucking hell.
You can't just take my words and use them against me.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be sharing like a fucking Jewish Chronicle hit job on a then MP under Jeremy Corbyn unless I thought it was, really funny. So I'll just read a bit of this. A Labour shadow minister has apologised for sharing an appalling image, in quotes, containing again in quotes, anti-Semitic caricature after originally denying he had done so. Mike Amesbury shared a picture on Facebook in 2013 before becoming an MP. So this is, again, why, unless it was relevant to this is not the kind of story that I'd be highlighting, because it is just like fucking dredging up somebody's shit from like 6 years beforehand when they were nobody. Just like a fucking Facebook post. But I mean, bear with me, and I'm going to have a hard one sticking up for this one, guys. There's a spoiler there. Mike Amesbury shared a picture on Facebook in 2013 before becoming an MP from a website called, and I'm sure we all of us here go there for our news, IlluminatiAgenda.com.
The greatest source of unbiased news, I'm sure.
Yeah, but don't judge a book by its cover, Yair. Don't just dismiss it because of the source. Listen to the description of this image.
True.
It showed a hook-nosed, bearded, cackling man. Good stuff. Wearing a Father Christmas hat. Rubbing his hands, you'll see the relevance of that in a second. Rubbing his hands together, again, on shaky ground here, along with the words, "Remember to support the banks and corporations this Christmas in their continued efforts to enslave mankind by spending money you haven't got on things you don't need."
I like that. It's like I'm really offended by the anti-Christmas message in there as well.
Yeah, that's sort of
exactly
vintage 2000s anti-consumerism. Like, been reading No Logo by Naomi Klein, going to see Rage Against the Machine kind of thing. Except they're just like, and it's because of the Jews, by the way. It's fucking
so
this
funny.
hook-nosed
He posted
banker.
this in like 2013.
I bet he says Happy Holidays too.
Yeah, the war on Christmas is again the real genocide.
He's like, like the thing of being like, it's like juvenilia or whatever, it's just like, no, I just worked it out. Yeah, juvenile. Yeah. But like, I just worked it out and he was like 44 years old.
This guy is old as shit.
He's fucking old. Like, he's not like, it was like with, it was always not tricky, but it was always, I don't think I was, but yeah, it was tricky with Corbyn, because it was always like, all of the anti-Semitism stuff was insanely overblown, and then it was like, now with that mural though, the mural was always a challenge.
Yeah, but I can easily defend that as the arbiter on these things. I can just say, look, he commented.
He's just making some sort of abstract point about freedom of expression and stuff.
Yeah,
I suppose.
He was just like, they tried to ban fucking
Diego fucking what's his name?
Yeah, that's it. I don't know. Anyway, I think Corbyn did nothing wrong and is innocent. And yeah, whereas Mike Amesbury, I mean, look, I'll get back to him.
If you're both posting that shit and you're not anti-Zionist, I don't know. That feels very sus. It's like all those Christian Zionists, like very, very scary stuff.
Yeah. It's like
again, maybe in 2013 he didn't realize that supporting Israel was the thing you have to do to be a credible centrist politician. Maybe he just see a bit of Israel murdering kids on TV and be like, oh, they seem like a bad lot.
I get it now.
And then because he's not smart, he'd be like, oh, it's probably because they're Jewish.
It's great.
He's a fucking idiot.
If you Google him, so like if you haven't seen, like obviously all of us will see his face like fucking dozens of times over the next couple of days because he just punched a bloke in the street with his MP. But he genuinely, if you just like put his name into Google and look at the first result that comes up, he has got absolutely nothing going on behind the eyes. He's one of the stupidest people I've ever seen in a picture of. It's incredible. He's like, he genuinely has not a single thought there. I've seen chihuahuas online who look cleverer than he does. It's fucking insane. It's just fucking so stupid. I think I would feel bad prosecuting him. I think it would be inappropriate. I think there's questions about how far he can be held to be legally competent for his actions. So fucking stupid. But it's again, I'm not trying to fucking cleave a serious point out of this. It's just an extremely funny thing that happened. It's like when Eric Joyce.
Funny. Joyce, yes.
When the blameless Eric Joyce.
Look, say what you will about his controversial personal life, but he was basically responsible for Jeremy Corbyn getting elected Labour leader.
It's like him going fucking pitbull mode in the Strangers Bar, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like no, it's just a bit of light relief. It's just the fucking elected representative kicking the shit out of people.
Yeah, it's not a few Blairites, few Tories. It's much better, not than,
Well, like that fucking thing. Like Yanucci was like saying this recently as well, and he was doing that thing of being like, actually, can I just shock you there? I think the MP should be paid more.
Oh, what a stupid fucking cunt.
Yeah. But like. But like with these people, are all like 6-figure salaries, you know, unlimited expenses and stuff. And then you see the actual caliber of people. There's only fucking 640 of them.
Yeah, it's just jobbers like Mike Amesbury. Like, this is the kind of guy who he was an MP under Corbyn, he's an MP under Starmer. He is nothing. Just doesn't rock the boat, just whatever. Because he doesn't have beliefs or whatever. He's just marking his time, that, like, running down the clock until he fucking dies and still the MP for that seat.
But it's just insane. You just think, like, you know, there are so few slots for it, and then so often the people who get put in those slots are absolute fucking liabilities.
Absolute shit,
it's
yeah.
Insane,
morons. It is the luck of... Well, it's like anything, isn't it? Like, a lot of billionaires, just fucking stupid cunts. They're just... They're not the smartest guy in the room. Maybe they were canny in business and they stole the smartest guy in the room's ideas, but we don't live in a fucking meritocracy, do we? The fucking guy who coined the term meritocracy in between siring awesome children, he knew that it was not a thing that existed. It was a thing that is not how society works. So
it's a good book, that, by the way, man. Honestly, like, I would recommend it. I think it's quite hard to come by, but it's a good book, man.
I'm not reading that, man. I'll read another classic rock biography.
What's that, like Michael Young, and we talk about people, you know, disappointing their left-wing fathers and stuff, but he literally wrote the 1945 manifesto.
Oh, wow.
So he was like, so he was like one of, you know, like the sort of co-founders of, like, the sort of peak era of British social democracy, and then his son is just like tried to do the same thing in middle age and basically just joined like various skull measuring societies and set up like a school where you have to learn to conjugate verbs in Latin, or you get fucking locked in an oubliette or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Toby Young is he's a clownish dipshit. Yeah. Like, he's just a comedy character, and like there's a whole film, a fucking Hollywood film with Simon Pegg about how Toby Young is a fucking unlikable fuck-up dipshit. And that was when people, you know, liked him more than they do now. That was the peak of Toby Young mania.
But yeah, man, you know, I suppose the common theme here between this fucking idiot Labour MP and Toby Young is like people just fumbling the bag, innit? It's like, you know, Toby Young had like the year of the Tory government that went on to serve for, you know, fucking 14 years and stuff, and he was literally too racist to get to like even like the second term of them and still be in their good books, because he was just like couldn't stop doing biological racism.
Well, didn't he get given a position and then have to like immediately resign because someone dug up all his racist comments?
Yeah, but basically, like, he was just doing like old-fashioned scientific racism, which is not what you're supposed to do, innit? You're not supposed to be like, you know, oh no, the thing is,
put the calipers away, Toby.
Exactly.
We're respectable conservatives now.
You're supposed to be like, oh, it's a problem of culture, you know.
They just have different cultural values from us. Yeah, exactly.
We're fucking idiots.
Unlike Toby Young, who has exactly my fucking cultural values.
Yeah. He's also got, like, if you just go, you know, because obviously he's been out the public eye for a while now. I don't know why I fucking devoted this much time talking about him, really, but if you just Google him, and then you look at someone like him, and you just think, you know, if skull shape like determines anything about your personality or your, you know, intellectual abilities or anything else about your life, like, you are one of the most doomed individuals ever lived. You're the most fucked up looking at.
If you're judging it by only that metric, then just a cunt. So the Mike Amesbury thing, I feel like every fucking episode, I guess just because like the energy on the left of politics is in Palestine activism now, it's not in fucking electoral politics or whatever. It doesn't feel like that's the most pressing issue compared to the genocide. I feel like as a result of that, you know, we spend quite a lot of time on pretty much every episode going through and telling a certain constituency of Jewish people that something they're saying is anti-Semitism is not actually anti-Semitism. I suppose that some people who would use this kind of terminology might consider this Jew baiting. But I don't know, have people considered that maybe, like, they're baiting me? Trying to elicit this kind of response from me in every episode by saying new annoying shit every... No, I said they there for comic effect there, but rather Zionists are trying to bait me by being really annoying as well, and just be in one breath screeching about genocide and how it's fucking needs to happen. It's good to kill people and stuff, and then in the next being like, "Oh, you're hurting my feeling." A guy on Big Brother is wearing a watermelon on his t-shirt, and I feel threatened by this, so we are gonna get this episode taken off air. Anyway, here's why, you know that stuff in the ancient stereotype about like doing some horrible murderous things to children? Here's why that is a legitimate military strategy. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a crazy, impossible situation, because they say that not equating Jews with Israel is anti-Semitism, but also actually equating Jews with Israel is anti-Semitism. So it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It depends how you're doing it. Like, if I try and defend Jewish people by saying they're not responsible for Israel's genocide, oh, that's bloody anti-Semitism, because actually... but then if I say that Jewish people are, then apparently that's anti... And I think that might actually be, but... it's both sides. But anyway, all that being said... Even I might have to concede that this caricature posted by Mike Amesbury may somewhat cross a line somewhere.
But it's fucking, like, it's absurd, isn't it? Because it's just obviously, with the anti-Semitism in the Labour Party panic, which obviously we know lasted exactly from when he nearly won the 2017 election to when he was turfed out in 2019 and fucking Keir Starmer came in.
There's no anti-Semitism in Labour.
There's none. But like, it was horrific. It was just like, they expelled Jewish members at a ratio of 6-1 as compared to non-Jewish members for anti-Semitism. So,
because they talk about Jewish issues members, pertaining to Jewish people more. I imagine that's why.
So
when you're stepping outside a very, very, very narrow definition of acceptable speech, then you might get suspended, and that is probably more likely to happen to Jewish people.
Insane. It's absurd. But then, like, with this stuff, it's like, if you were on the right to the party, you can do like the fucking Shekels tweet and stuff. All this proper retro anti-Semitism, like really old school shit. You can do all that, and then it's just water under the bridge. Forgive him, like he was a young man. He's only 44 years old. he's only a fucking MP who can't recognise anti-Semitic tropes when he fucking sees them. But it's just it's funny, and it's funny how nothing means anything anymore. It's good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Elon Musk agreeing on Twitter that this is revenge for the Jews allowing open immigration. That's fine, because now he says that Israel has the right to do unlimited genocide. That's all okay, as long as you say the right pro-Zionist stuff, you can be as anti-Semitic as you like.
Yeah. Do you want to hear Mike Amesbury's apology from 2019 for the anti-Semitism thing, not for punching someone?
We don't know. He could have been apologizing for both at the same time. It's just we don't know about the punch.
I will punch somebody in a few years
in an anti-Semitic way. We don't know the motives yet. This evening, a post share from 2013 was brought to my attention. I apologise unreservedly for this terrible error. I genuinely don't recall sharing this image, and I'm mortified that I did so. This appalling image contains an anti-Semitic caricature and a reference to the quote-unquote Illuminati conspiracy theory. I would never have intentionally shared such anti-Semitic tropes, and I am sincerely sorry that I did.
Nice one. It's pretty good.
Brilliant. Yeah,
it's good. But it's just like, I would never have shared it. It's like, well, when you, like, apart from the time that you did share this.
Yeah, why did you share it? Like, what did you think it was about? Like, how could you possibly interpret that?
It's just like, fucking, again, it's like a grown fucking man who's been an MP for like fucking, a grown ass man. Fucking, like, completely incapable of realising that the Illuminati conspiracy theory is like absolute bollocks. Just can't, like, it's just so fucking stupid, these people, man. And then you just think like, oh yeah, it's supposed to like treat them as your betters. Or like in particular with like the current sort of drive with MPs of being like, you know, they are our most precious people, they must be protected at all costs. So it's just like so many of them are like this. So many of them are just fucking idiots. I was supposed to say like we'd probably be better off just having like a random selection of people. But obviously if you had that, you'd have a lot spicier stuff than shit on Facebook. But you know, more the merrier, isn't it? If you're letting his fucker in here.
Free speech.
Like, yeah. Just like, I can't get over the fact that he's like my parents' age or whatever, and he's just like kicking the shit out of people in the street at like 3 a.m. Like the word, like the maddest type of antisocial behaviour.
Big children,
like
aren't they?
Yeah, it's fucking unreal.
Well, obviously it brings back, you mentioned Eric Joyce, but it brings back another golden memory from, was this, I think, 2018 or so, when 2 UKIP MEPs famously came to blow in the halls of the European Parliament. Came to blows, rather. They came to blow one another. They came to do a load of blow. No, they basically, Mike Hookham punched the shit out of
his
Stephen
fucking
Wolf.
name.
Another UKIP MEP, and there was the famous picture of Stephen Wolf. It was like an aerial shot of Stephen Wolf just like lying sprawled out there, and Hookham like was said to be on the run. He'd like gone, he'd gone on the lam, and he was like, I never went on the run. But he did talk about how the event happened, and he famously recounted, I said to him, "Let's you and me go outside, mano el mano."
Hand the hand.
Yeah, hand the hand, exactly. This man, this is this man is European to a bone. Classic. Just who you want in the European Parliament. I mean, like, yeah, fucking UKIP. Like, what do you expect? But like, there was an event today at some kind of Jewish community centre, and due to that, people have been saying that it was bad that there was a pro-Palestine protest there, because why would you protest like just a Jewish communal area? Like, it must just be pure anti-Semitism that there would be any kind of protest at this event. Anyway, let's hear who according to one person, quote, left-wing, peace-loving politicians on the panel at this event were. First off, you got Hamish Falconer MP, son of Lord Charlie Falconer. So, like, Nepo baby. Also, very spooky vibes, very dead eyes. Have you seen, not in the I'm just completely thick as pig shit, I'm an empty vessel for whatever Labour leadership to pour their fucking cum into. There's Look up Hamish Falconer. Look at those eyes and tell me he's never murdered anyone.
It is unreal.
Yeah,
he is an absolute threat to humanity. You can just see it. Like,
I need to look this up.
The crimes that this man is clearly capable of. I mean, the untold crimes, things that would chill you to the bone.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that is a school shooter. If he was American,
yeah. Well, you at least know he has done military service and like special forces. He can't talk about any of the shit he did, so he didn't have to become a school shooter because he could do that shit legally. Anyway, he is the Parliamentary Undersecretary of State. You know, someone who's probably like fucking directly into Middle Eastern child. He is the Parliamentary Undersecretary of State for the Middle East, North Africa, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Afghanistan being where I believe he served. Anyway, so that's one peace-loving left-wing politician on the panel at this harmless, benevolent, innocuous Jewish communal event. Who we got next? Ehud Olmert, the former Prime Minister of Israel.
Huh. Ridiculous.
Need I say more? What the fuck? Israel Katz himself.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, the next is pretty much, probably on balance, killed like more people than Netanyahu. The Right Honourable Tony Blair.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you were like, you couldn't believe it, but now you do.
I was thinking Dick Cheney?
Yeah, no.
Okay, the other guy. The other guy.
A close friend and collaborator of Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Former Prime Minister of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, Executive Chairman of the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change, in case you forgot. So, why would anyone have an issue with that event? This is all-out Jew hate, according to Northwest Friends of Israel. Pure and simple, targeting UK Jews. Where is Met Police UK?
I think it's like... It's hard to talk about because it's so absurd. But it's just like, it's so horrific to see like the sort of active conflation of, like the fucking... You always used to bring this up, but the thing of being like Jew hate, or saying Jew hate because it's just more phonetically offensive than saying anti-Semitism.
Dropping that hard J. It's like if I started saying the N-word to just bolster my points, but actually it would be because I really enjoy saying it. That's really why they do it. Yeah.
But it's just it's fucking so...
It's
so
like
dangerous.
Sacha Baron Cohen, like he's really good at anti-Semitism. I'm sorry, but just some Jewish people have an amazing gift for anti-Semitism. And some of their weird allies who love Israel actually are really anti-Semitic themselves and are not so much allies of the Jewish people as the ethno-state that purports to represent them.
Yeah, man, it's fucking brutal. I hate that thing of just being like, in this country, we obviously have no assumption of freedom of speech. So the operating assumption when a protest or something goes ahead is that you're not going to be allowed to do it. So that's like the opposite of what you have in, obviously, under the legal regime in America. But it's fucking unreal because they are unhappy with every single form of protest and they will use the most maximally extreme ways to describe it in every single instance. And you can see on that protest, it's just a banner and it's talking about blood on their hands. And it's like there are literally very few people on earth who have more blood on their hands than Tony Blair.
Yeah.
And Tony Blair's not fucking Jewish. He's fucking Scottish.
Wait, he's not? What the fuck? Oh yeah, I might have to start looking into this guy. Maybe I like him after... No, I'm just... Obviously, that's not how it works. I don't like war. War is bad. I don't like people who do war and kill people.
It's just fucking absurd. It's just insane. Because, like, I can't remember. I think it was during the coalition government whenever they had the... Was it Zippy Hotelevi, is it?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Zippy
or like the foreign minister of Israel at the time when she
Israel
came in,
Katz.
Like some...
I think isn't he actually foreign minister?
I didn't mean to trigger that again.
Sorry, it's the invasive thoughts. I can't help it. It's an invasion. It's a sort of incursion. It's an occupation, you could call it. My mind is illegally occupied by Israel Katz.
But like every single person on that panel is a war criminal. It's just like, if you're not protesting then like humanity's finished. Like if they're able just to go about their business without being encountering protest, then society is finished as like a project. So it's fucking like so offensive to just couch it in those terms of it being like there was like like in Peep Show where Mark gets caught drinking in the park. And he uses image like a news thing. It's like, we had 2 different types of crisp. It's like they say, it's a community event. They had, it's a bring and buy sale. People bake cakes and stuff. It's like, but fucking Tony Blair and everyone.
Tony Blair, by the way, when he was Middle East peace envoy, I know that's a crazy sentence. Just please try and get past that and bear with me. He was apparently, all the Palestinians hated him because he'd just fucking do whatever Israel said and always be pro-Israel in every situation.
Wild.
Yeah, so he's got history here. Anyway, this is the Board of Deputies of British Jews statement. So, as a British citizen, they are speaking on your behalf here. Let's hear what they have.
My people.
Today's so-called, quote-unquote, anti-Israel protest outside a key Jewish community centre and landmark in London evidences the targeting of the Jewish community by, again, quote-unquote, pro-Palestinian protests in this country. I love that. They're steaming in straight away with just like, they're not anti-Israel and they're not pro-Palestinian. They're just straight up anti-Semites. It's like, what, they actually do like Israel. They think Israel's all right. I think they're anti-Israel. At the end of the day, you can probably say these people don't like Israel. The conditions which have led to this are clear. Far too many people have decided to turn a blind eye to the hideous, what will this be, mass murder of innocent children? No, behaviour regularly exhibited at such protests. We also need to see policing which is more proactive in protecting the community and general public going on about their lawful business. This is, of course, a regular demand of ethnic minority groups and their representative bodies. We want the police to sort everything out because we trust the police very much.
We need more policing.
Yeah, that's classic. That's textbook anti-racism. This is part, and then they have, they removed something there. I don't know. There's like 2 spaces there of an ongoing effort in this country carried out under the guise of humanitarian concern to harass and intimidate British Jews. For many months now, such demonstrations have been held on a weekly basis in this area, with its heavy Jewish population, with little, if any, solidarity expressed for our community by the wider political class of all the people in the country.
Who is not on,
You can complain about not being sufficiently deferential to, in this case, pro-Israel members of the British Jewish community. I think the political class are singularly committed to displaying that solidarity.
I get a bit so confused by the bit where they called the Jews they're fat. I didn't like that. I thought it was unnecessary.
Well, it's like Kamala did a town hall the other day with undecided voters. And one of them came up and said, I'm really concerned about all the anti-Semitism on campuses. What are you going to do to combat this rise in anti-Semitism? And it's like, do you want her to just start executing Palestinian children on TV? I don't know what she could possibly do to be more in the pocket of Israel.
I saw that dickhead, that American piece of shit, Richie Torres, the guy whose name is a combination of 2 of the members of Bon Jovi who aren't John Bon Jovi. That made up piece of shit. He was talking about Hassan. He was saying Hassan Piker laughed when this woman asked Kamala Harris what she'll do about October the 7th victims or some shit like that. I just find it really funny because I do not think a serious elected politician should be acknowledging the existence of Hassan Piker, as popular as he is. That is letting him get to you. You should just exist where, just pretend you're on a higher plane if you're an actual elected official to such things as Twitch and its denizens.
I think, with basically the entire British establishment, they fucking hate the Stop the War Coalition, and they've hated them since 2001 when they were created. Yeah. And they just it's been the entire raison d'etre for the entire period, basically, of the war on terror and then this new fucking invasion of Gaza, is for that entire period, the fact that Stop the War Coalition exists whatsoever is fucking infuriating them. They're looking for any excuse to get rid of them. And they can't, because, it's kind of legal to do it. But I can't. They're so fucking, the instincts, particularly of the current Labour government, are so fucking authoritarian that I wouldn't put it past them. I think, it's absolutely mental. Sorry, I didn't mean to use that term there, but I'm gonna let it slide. It is fucking mental. I can't think of any other way to describe it.
We're all mental.
But
exactly.
Me too.
It's our N word. It's the M word.
But the fact that with Corbyn in particular, Corbyn was chair of the Stop the War Coalition whilst being on the fucking government benches technically during the Blair period. And even Blair's lot, did basically everything you can do to completely reshape the legal environment against freedom of expression and shit like that. And even they were like, "Oh, it's fine, we'll leave him in the party." It's just every single Labour MP who's even slightly anti-war now is just fucking kicked back totally to the fucking furthest back benches, stripped to the whip and stuff. I can fully foresee them just taking some insane, unjustifiable action on it. And it's basically only the sheer fucking size of the pro-Palestine marches and stuff that's stopped that happening thus far. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's fucking unreal then for to turn around and go like, oh, it's disgraceful, it's two-tier policing, like, they're not fucking protecting Tony Blair and all our most precious baby boys.
Yeah. I finally left the Labour Party when Starmer was like, any MP who doesn't take their name off his Stop the War Coalition letter about Ukraine is going to be kicked out of the party. I stayed in to vote in internal elections against the right, and at this point, like, he'd basically banned party democracy, and it was just like, well, fuck that. I'm not. If you got to fucking support NATO and support fucking Ukraine, then I'm out. Like, fuck that. Fuck them. You know what I mean?
Specifically Ukraine. Nah, man, like, it's fucking. It is wild. I mean, it's just it's unreal. The only good thing is that, like, I was living in terror. I remember like the Blair period really well, and like apart from
you were living in terror. You were a terrorist. You were attending a terrorist training camp. It's like you're living in sin, but you're living in terror. Terrorism permeates every aspect of your existence.
I, for one, condemn Steffan.
Yes, we
never associated with him.
We don't stand for terrorism on this Houstonite podcast.
I remember politics being so fucking boring back then. It was so awful because it was like the Tory party was fucking completely shit and useless, and then like Blair was like all powerful and just like getting because of this, just getting increasingly mental and increasingly bizarre in the shit that he was doing. It's like literally, like I always remember one of his last acts as PM was he came to Cardiff where I was living at the time, and he gave like a secret speech, much like Khrushchev. It wasn't announced beforehand. And he gave this speech where he said that black people's culture contributed to them committing knife crime, and that was like one of his last things that he chose to do with power. He's just like,
he'd been listening to Opie and Anthony. That's pure Anthony cameo. I was going to bring up, because I was just thinking about neocons and their fucking bullshit and leaving the left. When I mentioned Houstonites, that was it. I thought of one of the most prominent Houston Manifesto signatories and exponents of the so-called sensible left or the decent left during the War on Terror was Alan Johnson, not the Labour MP nor the character from Peep Show, but the editor of Fathom magazine, which I don't know much about, but I assume is some neocon bullshit.
Oh man, Starmer's current reign has been so fucking shambolic that like it doesn't feel like the sort of apertures of like political reality are like fully fucking slammed shut. You know what I mean? Like the problem with Blair was that he was good at this stuff. He like somehow managed to keep people voting for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though he was like doing all the same absolute dog shit to people, he still managed to maintain his grip on power for like nearly fucking 10 years. Whereas like Starmer's like such a so low at this point. His approval rating is just so low, the lowest of any MP.
He is the lowest form PM, of life. Yeah, he's got the lowest personal ratings of any Prime Minister at this point in their tenure. Obviously not counting Liz Truss, because she did not get to this point in her tenure. I brought up Alan Johnson, the lesser Alan Johnson, the lesser Alan Johnson, because he posted this thing on Twitter, which was like, it was a video of some woman talking. I mean, this is some real boilerplate culture war bullshit here. This is Planet Fitness 2.0. Woman is distraught when being subjected to full frontal naked man in her sauna and told she can do nothing about it because he is a woman. So, we don't need to rebut that fucking moral panic bullshit, but this is Alan Johnson responding to this fucking crap. Probably never happened. Alan Johnson, I left the left over this. It's just a great start. It's like, this dude signed the Houston Manifesto. I'm pretty sure he's left the left like 500 times. Would have left the left like when Gordon Brown won the leadership, when Ed Miliband won the Labour leadership, when Corbyn won the Labour leadership. Just a succession of departures from the left over a sort of 20 or so year period. But no, the trans stuff was the final.
That's just how left he is.
The final, he's just going to keep edging right, and then he'll finally get there eventually.
Just keep edging.
Yeah, exactly. Is that like some new American term for wanking or something?
It's like a sort of extended wank. So.
Yeah. It's when you get close, but you don't quite finish, and then you keep doing that for a while.
Oh, yeah,
you
got you. Yeah.
Thanks, that's very informative. I liked it, man.
Yeah.
It's good. I liked it. But
what about gooning? Is gooning just wanking in general?
It's a lot of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a large amount of very sort of ritual. Like, the aim of gooning is to achieve like sort of cognitive level of horniness where you basically stop thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
So you sort of enter like a sort of deep animal brain, you know. But not that I know anything more about it than that.
I'm glad to.
But,
okay. I'm glad to have clarified these things now.
Like,
I was wondering about
with like. I always think like the Eastern Manifesto. I'm fucking so old. I remember reading the Eastern Manifesto when it was published, like in print, which is published in the New Statesman.
Yeah.
And I was like reading it, and I was like, these fucking bastards. But like with Nick Cohen, obviously the most infamous member of that set.
Well,
now,
maybe the man who's left the left for most.
Well, like. He said he always used to do this thing about like because his parents were, if not members of the Communist Party, then like in the orbit of the Communist Party. And he used to say, "Oh, when I was growing up, we was always like a rotating cast of countries we couldn't buy oranges from. First it was Spain, then it was South Africa, then it was Israel, and it's like." Yeah, that's how it fucking works.
Yeah. Because
like obviously,
if you notice,
like when
in the early '90s, Nick, there was a change in the political situation in South Africa. Certain prominent figures were released from prison, and certain people were given legal and political rights.
Yeah, it's just absurd. Like,
my parents had actual political ideology. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's just another one of these fucking. I mean, Jesus, I guess, like, say what you will about their great politics, but fucking Aronovich and Cohen's parents and so on must have left something to be desired as parents. I mean, what else could, like when your child turns out to be a serial killer or something, you probably have fucked up somewhere along the line. Apart from the woman in We Need to Talk About Kevin, who I maintained did nothing wrong. Like, there's no way she could have, made that son a decent person. Innocent.
With like that particular type of thing, it's like it is kind of basically a sort of iron law of human society that like if you get to the point where you get to like the peak of left wing like intellectual production or something like Ralph Miliband or like fucking Michael Patillo's dad being Minister of Justice in the Spanish government in exile and stuff. And it's like the entire goal really of doing that, not that it's ever stated, is that your kids will turn out to be like right wing shitheads and make enormously more money than you did.
Yeah.
So it's like part of the it's like the circle of life,
Sidney Young. That was his name, right? Was Michael? You said Michael Young, but I think it was Sidney, wasn't it? Toby Young.
No, it's Michael Young. It's Michael Young.
Well, who the fuck's Sidney Young then?
Just some bloke. You think of Sidney Webb? Just some bloke, some cab driver. Sidney Webb, Sidney and Beatrice Webb. Is that you thinking of?
I don't know. Sid James. We mentioned him earlier.
Sid James. Yeah, just Sid James.
All right, I looked into it, and it turns out that Sidney Young is the name of the character in the film How to Lose Friends and Alienate People, who is based on Toby Young, but he's just not called Toby Young in it for some reason. He's the Simon Pegg character anyway. Yeah, so Alan Johnson is talking about this bullshit scare story about trans people. It's like, I left the left over this. Not just left the Labour Party, but the left. If the left can flip and overnight decide it is progressive to erase the hard-fought and desperately needed rights, protections, and intimate spaces of half the population, women and girls, and that it is bigoted to defend those rights, then sorry, but the left are now capable of anything, he emphasises there. Repeat, capable of anything. Whatever ideological madness comes next, slouching out of the universities, the contemporary left will be forcing it on us, using its control of the institutions, and like the synagogues and the, just all that stuff sounds like, vintage fucking the control of the institution stuff. Sounds like cultural Marxism conspiracy theories to me.
Yeah.
Well, count me out, Alan Johnson says. Political homelessness is now a badge of honour.
fucking hate these people.
Whereas actual homelessness is a moral defect and not caused by the right-wing economic policies that I now support. Yeah, what
I hate the left apostates. Obviously, like I was gonna hate them anyway. But like what I particularly hate with them is like they pretend it's like a brave stance, and it's like it's the most lucrative thing to do in the world.
Yeah.
If you just like, if I was now at my, I've only fucking like barely done any sort of public work as left winger or whatever. But if I was to suddenly go, see, this is why I've left the left. I saw this protest against Tony Blair. This is my final straw. Scaring innocent Jewish war criminals and Gentile war criminals.
I found that in the Corbyn years, like the slightest criticism of the Corbyn movement that didn't necessarily seem exactly like ultra-left stuff, but even could be. Suddenly all the centrists are like, you're so brave. It's just like that with, any kind of, the minute that you're like, I am taking a stand against the left, you can get a lot of clapping seals fucking baying along.
It's just like, it's the most remunerative thing you can do. You know what I mean? It's like it's the most rewarded thing you can do. And it's like, it's just so absurd that they think they're like brave truth tellers. And I find it like, it's just so spectacular. It's just like, you are literally allied with the most powerful civilizations that have ever existed on the planet. You are allied with like the American security state. And like you're like, I am so brave for taking the stance that only the most expensive military in the world ever seen would come back at. It's just fucking unreal.
Yeah, that's like the point I made about Oz Katerji. He's always so angry. He's angry to the extent of somebody who nobody with power listens to, to that extent. But actually, the people who are in power in the world agree with him on literally everything.
It's just like, it's like a question of milieu. That was like an absolute dickhead thing to say. I don't apologize. Like, all it is that they're like offended that like occasionally someone might think that that's like not the best fucking stance to have. What they want to have is they want to have like the complete frictionless life of agreeing with everything that these fucking states do, and then they also want to be told that they're brave and good for doing it. And it's just it's fucking so despicable.
Yeah.
And basically every single one of these people should be thrown down a well. It should be like, we should have like a mass well building program.
Yeah.
But like,
see, Sacha Baron Cohen had some good ideas. They were just targeted in the wrong direction.
Throw the lid down.
Yeah, damn right. I can get behind that.
Oh god damn, man. I just fucking I hate them so much. He made the mistake of mentioning the Easter Manifesto, and now it's just like my evening is ruined.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, guys like Alan Johnson, it's like what the fuck do you care about women's rights? You've never mentioned fucking women's rights before. You've just been saying that the West should bomb places for 25 years. It's like, do you want to hear his fantasy shadow cabinet?
Excuse me, we need to bomb those places because they don't have women's rights.
That's true. That was a canard of the interventionist left, wasn't it? Before Alan left the left, of course. Yeah, we got to bomb these.
I mean, it still is about like Palestine. Not that it makes any fucking sense.
Any woman in Gaza gets thrown off a rooftop.
It's just an entirely male society. Yeah. It's just like, and also like it's a terrible paradox because they've thrown all the women off the roofs, and now they're all starting to engage in situational homosexuality, and then they just like start throwing each other off the roofs because of that. It's terrible.
And now they've got no bloody roofs to throw off.
That's why we have to bomb those places. Yeah, we have to get rid of the roofs.
The only winning is Israel's eventual total victory.
So what's his fantasy shadow cabinet, man? Sorry, I don't mean to
Israel Chai.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't know what I just thought L'chaim was as an all-purpose.
L'chaim just means like long life.
Yeah, long life to Israel. Exactly. I'm not on the right either. Okay, well, I'll read the dickhead's reply. Some guy called David Robjant says, David Knobhead says, I share a sense that there is something in common between such a flip on sex-based rights and what has suddenly happened to decades of educating people about anti-Semitism. I don't know. I definitely feel like this pro-Israel stuff and this anti-trans stuff are pretty linked together, so maybe he's onto something there. IDK whether to describe this as my leaving the left. There are No, don't worry, David, mate. I'm sure you're very left-wing. There are flip cases on the right, too. And Alan Johnson replies, I'm not on the right either, David. Politically homeless, me. It's very fucking Jess Phillips, isn't it? Politically homeless, me. Whatever, her fucking...
Just a very, very sensible, very free-thinking type,
Yeah.
I can't put any labels on me.
I need not get into the things I was saying about the accent of Jess Phillips to Steffan last night. I feel like our listeners in the Birmingham area would we would endure a precipitous decline. All right, so here is Alan Johnson continues. My very niche ideal party would have Rosie Duffield as PM. Like what? That anti-Starmer fucking... I'm not an anti-Starmer... Do you know she voted against children being in poverty? Did you know that? She's bad. No, of course. That's. I feel like her rebellions against Starmer on economic issues are not why he's put Rosie Duffield here. As evidenced by his next pick, a non-politician, Julie Bindel as Women's and Equality Minister, Tom Harris as Foreign Secretary, a Scottish Labour dickhead who I think left the left and writes for Tory papers and shit. And Alan Johnson has volunteered himself to be SPAD, Special Advisor to Tom Harris.
Very generous of him.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
And Maurice Glassman, the visionary behind Blue Labour, as Chancellor.
Fucking hell, man.
With Special Advisor Ruth Sawotka. So you will recall Ruth Sawotka. So is it Sawotka or Savotka?
It's Sawotka, the way you pronounced it. Yeah.
She is. She's the wife of a former trade union leader.
I know this exactly right. Yeah, so she's the wife of the former leader of the Public and Commercial Services Union, PCS, Mark Sawotka. But she basically went insane anti-trans.
Yeah, she posts a lot about trans people on the internet, which is her qualification to hold one of the great offices of state. No, sorry,
just like a private citizen. Just like a human, just like a person on the internet, and he's like, she should be, like fucking Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster.
Yeah, he basically just
because she hates trans women that much.
Of people whose brains are addled by posting about trans people on the internet. And in many cases, that is their sole qualification for this role. But here is how he describes this, what his ideal government would be. Proper, old, Edward Bernsteinian, radically redistributive, radically socially democratic, Orwellian, patriotic. Orwellian people generally use pejoratively, but there's not a comma between Orwellian and patriotic here. So what he is saying is the kind of patriotism espoused by George Orwell. Two-state Zionist is the next bit. Anti-authoritarian, free speech protecting, properly feminist Labour. Brackets. Basically, my mam's party. That's some authentic shit there. We could probably hold our first conference in a phone booth.
I fucking hate these people so much.
Joanna de Gaia, hashtag Am Yisrael Chaim. Chai, sorry, not Chaim. Can I join, please? I am only a small one and would fit in a phone booth. Haha, yes, let's form a party, says Alan Johnson, grooming a child, a self-described small one. What can we call it, she says? Orwell's Last Stand. The none of you understand what left-wing politics actually are party. The People's Front of Judea. 3 great suggestions.
It's just fucking unreal. I love the fucking the People's Front of Judea thing, and that joke now is it 50 years old or more?
Hang on, Life of Brian is 79.
Life of Brian,
so. God.
79, so it's 45 years old.
Yeah.
So that joke was barely funny when it first was made.
Man, it's
not
movie.
a good joke.
That's
a great film, yeah. But that joke's not great.
Yeah. It's like Sacha Baron Cohen. A lot of people have been like overcorrecting because of his shitty appearance on Tonight with Jimmy. You know, people are saying like he's racist and he was never funny, whereas in fact, you know, he's racist.
And he was funny.
Exactly.
He was.
But funny, yeah.
But like, it's just fucking unreal. Like, it's just like what I love about it is there's like an element of this which sort of hits every British person of a certain age, where you just think like, I have got the perfect topical jibe here. Like, I must make a joke. It's like fucking like Hislop's disease or something, you know. It's so funny to do that with like a 45-year-old thing. It's just fucking, apart from like, you know, people's Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine and stuff. That kind of left-wing political party don't really exist anymore in that format. It's like it was like a live thing back then. There's
yeah,
still,
it's like a third worldist thing.
Yeah. It's just like, oh no, I'm just going to make this joke, and the tweet thread of someone who was like, if anything, more of an insane sectarian freak than any left-wing person he's parodying.
And the left isn't strong enough to be splitters like that anymore.
No, they're mostly just not organised at all.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, just thinking like, I tell you what, really good. Really cap us off. People trying to shoot you a joke. It's like, you fucking witless oaf. You fucking talentless freak. But like, can't say that anymore. Like, as a walk, you can't just like start chewing out random women commenting on idiots' Facebook on fucking Twitter threads. You can't call these people talentless freaks who should have the right to post removed from them forcibly.
It's never stopped us, man. The last bastion against woke. It's us and Club Random. Our next guest, Milk Tour. Milk with a W. Our next guest, Dove Tour. She wanks people off instead of sucking them off or something. I don't know. Any other shit we want to shoot?
No, I think we reached a nice natural end. Unless you've got anything urgent to add.
Nah, I'm good. Should probably be wrapping up soon.
Yeah, cool. Okay, let's. So first things first. Fuck Keir Starmer. Am I right?
Yeah, quite right. Yeah, yes, that's good, Jack. Yeah, fuck Keir Starmer.
Fuck Keir Starmer.
Starmer,
fuck that cunt. Peace. All right, guys. Yeah, let's ring off now.
Been good.
Yeah, that's been really funny. Okay.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, send me your shit, and then we'll work out an editing schedule.
Sounds good.
That's good.
Cool. All right.
Leave this in. Leave all this in.
Yeah. No, this is like the one bit I'll cut. Everything else is pretty usable.